Well, hello and welcome everybody to Her Aging Parents, Her Thriving Business. It is my honor and privilege to have my friend and my colleague, Robin Thomas here from Living Well Connections. And Robin is going to talk to us today about healthy habits. Because here's the thing, you guys, us caregivers, we have a really hard time putting ourselves first. And when we don't put ourselves first, bad things typically happen. They do for me, and I'm sure they do for you too. I'm not going to get into my laundry list of bad things that can happen, but it's worth a conversation to talk about healthy habits. So I'm gonna turn it over to Robin, and I was thinking about how we met, how we got connected before this call. And I couldn't figure out. And then before this call, you're like, oh, well, Pam. I'm like, oh yeah, Pam, who I temporarily had a momentary memory loss. Anybody else get that? Like, who's Pam? Oh, it's Pam.
I tell you what, that happens. That memory loss thing happens when you're a caregiver. It's just like, okay, you got to think of this, and this. Okay.
Yeah.
This Pam.
And later on top of that, being a business owner, and your memory really goes to pot fast. And our first conversation was an interesting one. Was it, who didn't have video? We didn't have it. I didn't have video. You didn't have video.
You were having trouble having video. I think you were on a trip, and you were in your room, in your hotel room, and then suddenly there wasn't enough bandwidth to have a video. So I said, let's just go on the phone.
That was it. Yeah. So we got off to a really good start. Couldn't see each other. We're just talking to each other. I was in a hotel room because I had followed my husband to a conference that he had to go to. And I thought, great, I'll take my laptop. I'll do my work. Oh, was I wrong? So here's Robin and I talking. And I didn't tell her this at the time. Next door, I'm sitting in the hotel room. It was shortly after. Was it after we talked or before? It doesn't matter. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, boy, there's something that smells really earthy. And I quickly realized it was pot. And then I also quickly realized, oh, they have a convention here. People are starting to roll in this weekend for a Volkswagen bus convention. And these individuals are all aging hippies, which is great. They were a lot of fun, but pot. So shortly after I talked to Robin, I took my laptop. I went outside because I couldn't work because I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, fun fact. So my husband doesn't know any of this is going on because I'm not texting him because he's at a conference. I decided to come back for lunch. So I walked across to, what the heck is it? Bonefish. Got the Bang Bang Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts. My husband hates them with a passion. They stink. Didn't tell him any of this was going on. I went to Bonefish, got my lunch. I had a few minutes before my next call. I thought, I'm going to go outside and get some more fresh air, take a walk. Meantime, he comes back to the room, walks down the hall, and he's like, whew, that's earthy. And opens the door. I'm not in the room, but he gets hit with Brussels sprouts. And he's like, oh my God, I can't escape that. And he's texting me. He's like, what is in here? I said, Brussels sprouts. He's like, what's in the hallway? I said, pot. And he's going, what? Anyway.
He's been wondering what you've been up to. You got the munchies from Brussels sprouts.
I mean, maybe that was it. I never thought about that. That's funny. But that poor man, he's just like, okay, we're checking out tonight. I went, okay, that's fine with me. So in any event, Robin and I, that was our first conversation. And we had a lot of laughs because we got a lot of similarities. For instance, we both have aging moms. And our moms make us laugh. Because what else are you going to do? So Robin, you want to share what your mom did that?
Oh, I'll tell on my mom. she ended up laughing. I mean, she ended up laughing about it. Yeah. In fact, I don't know anyone here has, I mean, I think a lot of people here may have aging parents, and sometimes you have to laugh. You just have to laugh or you'll cry.
Sometimes you can't help it.
My mom is very independent. She's 97, and she lives in assisted living, but she's independently minded. I mean, she wants to do what she wants to do. And she decided last spring that she wanted to go pick some daffodils. And I was actually with her, and I said, well, let's go together. Oh, no. I'll just go right after supper. It's still light enough. I'll be able to go and just turn around and come right back. And she left supper, did not tell anyone where she was going, took a walk, forgot to take her cane, well, she resists the walker. She hates a walker, but she has a cane. Forgot to take her cane, went to not just the daffodils that were right out the door, but to some woods nearby that she had planted probably 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And she wanted to pick some of her daffodils. So she gets there and she starts picking, and she has a nice little bouquet, and she reaches down for another, and her knees buckle, and she ends up sitting on the ground. Well, then she's sitting on the ground, and she said, well, okay, I'll just try to get up. She could not get up. And so after supper, there is like about 6 o'clock in the evening. They have early supper. So they have 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yep.
She's trying to get up. She said she tried every which way. She got up on her knees, trying to get up from there. Could not do it. In the meantime, the assisted living place was having a Mardi Gras party. So nobody realized that she was missing until about 10 o'clock that night. And she was still sitting out there with her bouquet of daffodils.
She had the bouquet. Of course.
She had the bouquet of the bouquet of daffodils survived the whole thing. And well, this may be too TMI, but in the meantime, after supper, sometimes you need to go to the bathroom. And she did.
Yeah.
She did.
Gotta go.
So she's pretty miserable. But they finally realized she wasn't in her room. They couldn't find her, and they sent out the pop, or they called in EMT to look for her. And only about then did they call me, and I'm like, what? Oh, by the way, your mom is somewhere. I said, well, she was picking daffodils, so look for daffodils.
Yeah.
And they did find her. This young, evidently very cute guy, EMT, found her. And I was talking to the residence manager when they called and said they found her. I said, well, what was her state of mind? I mean, was she upset? Was she crying? Is she okay? And they said she was laughing because first of all, he was cute. And then he started asking these questions, these silly questions. She called them silly questions, just to see if she was like in total dementia, or if she was, if she was with it. Right. And she was still with it. And so she just started laughing at the questions he was asking her. And he got her up, they got her up and they got her back safely, and it was all good. But it was just, they were just saying, the EMT, I mean, they were just having a kick out of her laughing. Well, it was, thank goodness you found me.
Oh, your mom.
But it's funny. But she kept hold of, I mean, even through all that, she held on to her bouquet of daffodils.
After all she went through.
Until she got to her room and got it in a vase.
She accomplished what she set out to do.
She accomplished her mission. But then the rest of a few days after that, everybody who knew her would bring her a daffodil. So she ended up with this huge bouquet of daffodils people brought her.
Isn't that something? It's like a ripple in a pond.
It is. And I just think it's really wonderful. She had a sense of humor. I mean, I'm very, very glad it happened to be a warm evening.
Yes.
It could have been cold because it's that off and on.
Yeah.
I'm very glad they found her before later than that.
Me too. Yeah.
But she realized, I mean, I think she just saw, maybe she was just so relieved to see somebody.
I bet.
And it was a cute guy.
And a cute guy on top of it. Well, so so this is our first conversation, and Robin shares this with me, which made me think about my mother. And I have got a million and one stories, which, by the way, made me think of a different one, Robin. Mother, years ago, this was like in the spring too. And it was that weird time. There's still a little bit of snow on the grass, but there's grass at the same time. So my husband and I go to pick her up for, I think it was Easter brunch. Maybe it was Mother's Day, probably Easter, because it's still kind of chilly out. Go up to her room, and she is wearing, my husband calls them her big girl shoes. And they've got a heel, and they're right. And I didn't notice. And he says, he pulls me aside. He's like, do you notice your mom's wearing her big girl shoes? And I'm like, because she had balance issues. That this was probably 10 years ago, balance issues then. And I'm like, okay, it's a little wet outside. It's a little snow. And instead of saying, Mom, what do you think about changing your shoes? I went into helicopter mode and I said, Mom, you've got to change your shoes. You're going to, right. And she's arguing with me and I'm arguing with her. And we got the reservation at the restaurant and we were both like, fine, right. We were both bad moods, walk outside. And so there's, the sidewalk, and then on either side, there's grass and snow. So what does Mom do? We walk outside, she veers off over into the grass, finds a patch of snow and just stomps her feet in it. And I'm like,
she'll show you.
I was not the best child growing up. I was really a pain in the butt. And back then she said, just wait till you have children. Well, I never had children. So I'm thinking that's my payback. She's just, anyway, Mom, you gotta, and and I saw her do this and I was just like, oh my God. But then you had to laugh. You just have to laugh because what else are you going to do? So that's how Robin and I bonded over our mothers and over being, business owners and caregivers at the same time. So speaking of caregivers, speaking of you, Robin, will you tell us what you do? Because I love what you do.
Well, I'm also a caregiver of my son. I have an adult son who has special needs. And who has special health issues. So I had been, my former career when I had a job was a research biologist. And a medical institute at UNC hospitals.
Oh, wow.
So I segued into that. Became full-time caregiver of my son and homeschool teacher. When
just add into the list.
When he hit that middle school age and just couldn't handle school anymore. So
sure.
Wow. So I started looking for something to do, and I did. I found a company I wanted to be aligned with. I loved the science behind it because that's was core value for me in the science. And I did that. But it opened my mind and my eyes also to different ways of wellness. So I was in a university hospital, very allopathic medicine. But with the company, it's named USANA, but the company is much more in the integrative, holistic practices of wellness.
That's what allopathic
means. So it sort of
means.
changed my mind. Like, okay, there's good value in both.
Okay.
I love integrative.
Yeah.
So I found, for practical reasons, I found ways to help my son much better than the straight allopathic way. And I found a functional neurologist who helped with him.
Wow. Yeah.
So I found people who are more in the functional
medicine,
nutrition, even energy work modes. So that really opened this science narrow-minded person. No, I wasn't that narrow-minded, but still, very science. And found help. So after finding help, I said, gosh, at that time, it was quite a while ago, it wasn't so easy to find practitioners, and you want to trust the practitioners. And you want to, you want to get to know them. You want to have, it's hard to look in a yellow pages. I'm aging myself, but it's hard to look in a directory and just.
I know the yellow pages.
Yeah. You know what the yellow pages are.
I know the yellow pages. Used them.
So I decided to lift and support these practitioners by giving more visibility. So I
Mm.
started a community called Living Well Connections.
Mhm.
And first of all, it was just practitioners, and me cooking lunch, inviting friends over to listen to one of these practitioners speak about what they do.
Oh, wow.
But then it moved on to restaurants, and we'd have luncheons, and started, marketing out to the general public.
Yeah.
And people would tell other people and how good it was, and the practitioners would tell each other. So I get introduced to new
Mm.
practitioners all the time. And then COVID hit. So we went online, and it was very successful online. We'd had lunch, but we were all sitting at our laptops
Oh, yeah. Right.
eating lunch. And then we all had all the time in the world, the first year at least.
Yeah.
So practitioners were able to talk for 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Wow.
Well, then that sort of fizzled out. They got busy.
Hmm.
Nobody really wanted to sit for long time
Mm.
periods in front of Zoom anymore. So in the meantime, from the almost the very beginning, I have a Facebook group that we've connected, not only practitioners, but we've also connected anyone interested in wellness, and anyone interested in looking for a good practitioner, or
Hmm.
looking for an idea,
Right.
or have a situation. It's a private group, so it's a safe group, and a very supportive group. I love it.
Yeah. I'm part of it, and it's beautiful. It's a very nurturing group, and I love it. So I encourage you to put that link, if you're so inclined, in the show notes, for people to check out.
So as you see my little sign, my little logo here, Living Well
Yeah.
Connections. The group is called Living Well Connections
And
too.
that's how they can find you.
And they can find me just through Facebook. But an easy way is to go to livingwellconnections.info.
Perfect.
And then I give a little video, and I'm talking about general health in that, but it's totally free to join the group. No money out. I do have a program where I'm featuring practitioners. If you have any
Mhm.
practitioners watching who want to be part of the community and be lifted, I do have a low cost but still very valuable program for featured practitioners.
Absolutely. And I wonder if you would queue up, healthy habits, and especially for us caregivers.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, caregivers, and I'm including myself in, we don't realize when we need to take care of ourselves, because we're so entrenched in making sure mom's okay,
Yeah.
making sure the business is okay, making sure our families are okay, that we often come last. And that equation is topsy-turvy.
Right.
Because when we're coming last, we're not taking care of ourselves. We're not able to take care of anybody else, to any degree. So
Yeah,
when
that's
we
so
flip
true.
it,
That is
right,
so true.
put ourselves at the top of that list. And so what would you tell someone that, okay, doesn't see it, but you're having this conversation with someone and you can really tell, like, oh boy, they really, how are they taking care of themselves? Maybe that's the first question, but what would you say to that person? And then my next question is, what's your suggestion for caregivers to get started with healthy habits?
Well, that's the hardest part, is getting started.
It really is.
And I do have, if you do sign up on that livingwellconnections.info, you will get a PDF book, an ebook, short.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
have to read lots and lots of pages,
Yeah.
short. But it gives 5 different ideas for starting healthy habits. And what my intention is, it is so hard when someone comes at you and says, you need to do you need to drink this water, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. And you're going like, I need
Kinda
to do
like-
so many things.
Kind of like what I did with my mom and her shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't
They're going
work.
like, no. So the way I approach it is more of, okay, usually we find something. One of ways is I call piggybacking habits. And I would probably say 100% of people listening here brush their teeth.
I would hope so. If
That's a
not,
healthy
no
habit
judgment.
that you do. Do you think about it? Do you wake up and go, okay, I've got to do this, add that to the tasks of things you have to
Yeah.
do? No. So if you can add something to the brushing the teeth that happens. I mean, the simple thing is making sure to floss maybe, or drink a glass of water after you brush your teeth. Then you've gotten that first glass of water of the day.
Right.
If you're doing something that is in tandem with other habits. Another way to do it is to change, to adjust your environment so it makes it easier.
Oh, how so?
Whatever habit is easier. There is a common thing. I do like people to move their body and find a time to take a walk, but you don't want to run around in the morning searching for your walk, your tennis shoes or whatever.
Right.
If you make things easily accessible right by the door, if the tennis shoes stay by your door,
right,
you can easily just put them on, and it doesn't have to be a long walk, but just to get out. I think we all need to have that change of perspective.
Fresh air out in nature.
Fresh air, just seeing a different thing than the four walls in your house or room or wherever you are. Getting away from the computer. That's for me. It's like I have to plan. Okay, I'm not going to stay here 2 hours in a row. I'm going to go out and do a little walk around my yard or walk around the neighborhood a little bit. I have 3 other ideas that are great in this PDF, and they're all simple. You don't have to start something with a bang. There are a small percentage of people who really like that and they want that, but I've found it's probably like 0.5% of all the people I've met.
Right. You just want to ease into it.
You're basically doing all these other things for other people. So I like to help you take care of yourself, but make it a lifestyle. So once it gets in there in your habits, you don't even think about it. You just do it. I don't even think about drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning. It's just like, okay, I could struggle with my eyes, grab it. Some people do that with their coffee. I do that with water.
Yeah. And I would venture to guess that when they start incorporating these healthy habits, very slowly, but that's going to change their body. That's going to change their mind. That's going to change their health so that they are stronger. They are healthier.
Right.
And
it's easier to do another one. So you do 1 or maybe 2. Sometimes people want to do 2, and then you move on to something else. I had someone, well, I've had more than one, but I had someone in the general someone who was very much addicted to diet sodas.
Ooh.
And she was a chain smoker to diet sodas. She would not even finish one before she clicked open the new one.
Sure.
To keep drinking. And that's one of the things she really wanted to stop doing that much. So I told her, okay, I'm not going to say don't drink diet soda, but I'm going to say when you get the first craving, because your body doesn't know, is your body thirsty or are you craving the diet soda part? I said, you can have a diet soda, drink a glass of water before you have the diet soda.
That's a great idea. And
then before you click the next one, and she said, oh my gosh, I don't even want them anymore. It took about a week.
Really?
Different people, it takes longer, but it didn't take that long before she's saying, it was for her, she said it was such a habit to just click the nut. When she turned it into a habit that she drank a glass of water, she drank a glass of water, and then she realized she wasn't thirsty for the next diet soda. So gradually she drank fewer and fewer.
And it was just breaking that habit, that cycle. And it didn't take as long as what she had thought.
No.
I find that to be true so often, right? We build it up on it's going to take forever to do this. I can never do this. And it's like, oh, took a week, took a month.
Well, if you have to do, I have one of those guides, they have these habit tracker things.
Sure.
But it can become overwhelming because it's lots and lots. Pick 1 or 2. Get that under your belt.
Right.
And then pick another one. If you want to start adding more vegetables to your diet, you don't have to jump in and become a vegetarian right away. Just add 1 more vegetable. And then, once you get used to that, add another.
I love that. Just little by little. And before you know it, you've got all those 5 healthy habits. And Robin is going to share this with you. So she has a gift for you. It's I left this open because I knew I was not going to remember it. Darn, I didn't. 5 ways to get started with healthy habits. There's going to be a link for you to pick that up in the show notes. I highly recommend it. And Robin, it has been such a pleasure talking with you and laughing with you and getting to know you. And thanks for doing this. Had a lot of fun.
It was an awful lot of fun. And then one little caveat to the title, I know it says parentheses, without getting overwhelmed, because let's ban overwhelm. Let's just not do
Let's
that.
just not even mention it. Yeah, absolutely. So 5 healthy habits. Beautiful, Robin. Well, thank you so much. And see you guys later.
Bye. Thank you. It was fun.